Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Solutions with Aquarius Rising Africa. And we are Friday today instead of Wednesday, but hey, we are Friday. Welcome, beautiful Brice again, and Thea, and to the Sophia Code, Keycode 2, which is Hathor, part 2. So I think it's what page? Is it 102 or 103? 103, right?
103, the anatomy of your throat chakra is when we left off last week for those following along with us.
Yeah. So, of course, the most important part of expression, right? But not really. It's really where everything within you is expressed. And it's very interesting because when especially when with the second one of my workshops, Keys to Integration, um, throat chakra is really the combination of what's above and below, right? And how we've understood it, and through the heart center, right? Integrated it, and therefore then express it verbally. So, but it's such an important thing to realize that it's not just about what you say, it's also about what you don't say, right? And there's a time for silence and there's a time to speak. And that is all related to the throat chakra. So interesting. I enjoy it. Yay.
Yeah, I know. And Thea's got her little necklace on for throat chakra. You were showing before.
Yeah, it's a little heart lapis lazuli. I bought it specifically for my throat chakra. Yeah.
Yeah, the color's blue. And we talked about this last week. You know, I've said this on my channel many times. The 3 elements of Ayurveda are food, breath, and sound. Well, what is sound? It's food, breath, and vibration. Sorry, what is vibration? It's sound. And so you can actually put your hand on your throat and literally feel the vibration of your own voice. And your own voice is encoded with specific, and we talked about this last week, like a mother can be in a room full of screaming 2-year-olds, and without seeing the kids, she'll know which kid's hers because she recognizes the scream, right? So there's so much more in the voice than we actually realize. I think maybe our ancestors knew, but we don't. So it's kind of interesting to look back at this, and this is Hathor's big thing is this the throat chakra is that sound that I mean we've kind of learned a little bit more about it with the whole like spell casting stuff and spelling and words and have words have power and meaning, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is going to be exciting.
Yeah, and also babies recognizes their mother's voices.
Yep,
they know who their mommy is.
It's interesting. One of my mom's sisters, who has since passed away, my Aunt Mary Jo and my mom, they were very close in age. And this was back in the dark ages when we didn't have like caller ID or anything like that. You know, like for the young kids watching, imagine a time, if you will, when the phone rang and you had no idea who was on the other end. And you would fight with your siblings to see who would get to answer the phone. Now we don't even pick the phone up if we don't know who it is, right? And so like my aunt would call. And if my mother wasn't at home, my sister and I would always think it was my mom. Well, when my aunt had her youngest child, my youngest cousin, when she was a baby, my youngest cousin was very finicky with who held her. But my mom could hold her besides her mom, my mom's sister. And I think it's because their voices were so similar. There was such a similar cadence to their voice and their pitch that even that my little cousin felt very comfortable with my mom because the voice was similar. So it's interesting that these things are we think about inheritance, like you inherit your eyes or your hair from your family, but you also inherit the encoding of the voice as well.
Yeah, it is interesting because even my dad, we have to tell him which daughter. Hi, it's Thea. Because we sound so similar. Yeah, even my daughter, she also sounds very similar.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, it's interesting, very.
And maybe we were more, I'm thinking about it, maybe before we had our cell phones and caller IDs, maybe we were more tapped into hearing specific codes, not even subconsciously, not even realizing it before we had the availability of like a cell phone to tell us who was calling. I mean, my phone, even in the United States, probably the same in other countries, it even labels it as spam. So if a phone's calling me and it's spam, it'll say spam,
Mm.
right? Like we didn't, back in the dark ages, we didn't know if it was a telecommunicator. Like we didn't know who it was that was calling us. So it could be your grandma, or it could be a salesperson, or it could be the principal of your school calling to rat you out. You never knew. And oh, when that phone line was busy, we didn't have, before there was call waiting, and you would try to call your friend and their mom was on the phone. So if you get that wah, 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 busy tone, oh, kids today will never know the pain and the joy of having that lack of, of having your own privacy and not, having to deal with social media and all that kind of
not
stuff.
be so accessible.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe there is some, and for the people watching right now, like, thinking about that for our older crew, like back in the day before there was social media, you could probably recognize, or cell phones rather, you could probably recognize people's voices better, with their own encoding of language and stuff. So yeah.
Well, Brice, do you want to start off?
Sure. Okay, so let's start off with the anatomy of your throat chakra. Again, for those watching, this is page 103 on my book. I'm assuming it's the same in all books. Spinning at the front and back of your neck, the throat chakra radiates the two wheels of light that connect in a funneled point at the center of your larynx. As a subtle organ structure from your higher self's light, the metaphysical properties of this chakra interface with the anatomy of your throat, which governs speech. The throat chakra is responsible for the physical health of your tongue, mouth, jaw, and larynx, as well as the spiritual health of your communication, authentic expression, and creative power. And I will say, I notice with myself sometimes, if my throat chakra is out of whack, I'll get jaw pain, like intense jaw pain. So if you're someone that suffers with like TMJ or any type of jaw issues, right?
Yeah.
That's where it's coming from. The wavelength of light emitted from your throat chakra vibrates as a royal blue. Spiritually, royal blue ray represents divine will for a creative expression, clear communication, aligned leadership, self-mastery, revealing truth, and freedom of speech. Freedom of speech, LOL. That's means more today than it probably did when this book was written. While resting, the chakra will appear as a sphere of royal blue light. In the act of an authentic expression, the subtle energies of the throat chakra expand far beyond the physical throat, surrounding your body in a field of high-frequency light waves vibrating as every hue of blue. In yogic anatomy, the architecture of the throat chakra subtle energy is illustrated as the lotus flowers of 16 petals that interface with your body. Each petal is called a vritti and governs an aspect of communication, creativity, and manifestation. Place your fingers upon the suprasternal, I hope I'm saying that right, notch at the base of your throat, just above your collarbone, and begin to tone. Feel the remarkable waves of light and sounds that vibrate against the press of your fingertip. And we know that the second sutra of the Yoga Sutras is Yoga Chittavritti Nirodha, which is basically, if you can understand that, as Sri Swami Satchidananda says, if you can understand that sutra, you don't need the rest of them. So vritti is also thought. So isn't that interesting that vritti is sound and thought? So that throat, and that's interesting you're talking about the combination, Shanti, because the thoughts, we know in yoga that the thoughts are what kind of keep us in bondage, like our own thoughts. The vritti, yoga chitta, vritti chitta is the brain, vritti is like mind stuff that can also obviously be a part of the throat. So it's not just what you speak out loud, but it's also how you internally speak to yourself too. That becomes a vritti. Interesting. Okay, let's see. The tiny cavern in the landscape of your throat is considered the temple gateway for the alchemical manifestation. When focused intentions pass through this acoustic doorway as defined sound waves of your spoken desire, then they intersect with a quantum fabric of physical reality according to their encoded direction, generating new form and experiences. As you consciously activate your throat chakra, you become increasingly aware of your sovereign power to create any reality through the power of your word by witnessing what you attract and manifest. Harnessing the magic of your word requires a personal practice for becoming present to the creative powers of your speech. Consider your words before they launch your intentions into a universe that must magnetize and arrange your reality according to how you've spelled it out, word for word. The first step in creating this personal practice for empowering your speech is to invite your higher self to always guide you in contemplation before you speak. When you invoke your higher self, Your tongue is increasingly drawn to express the language of your heart, which always speaks with well-chosen words that honor you, the divinity in others, and all of life. Your higher self loves to use language that activates and integrates the Sophia Code within you, choosing words that invoke your highest potential and draw forth the outer manifestations of your innate divine inheritance. This inspiration to honor all of life through the power of your voice may eventually inspire you to sing your intentions. Singing can be used in your personal practice to connect the authentic expression of your heart with the power of your throat chakra. Listening to and singing along with music that includes high frequency tones, invocation, and positive affirmations and loving intentions accelerates the magic of your manifestation power. And something really interesting came to me as I was reading this, a memory. When I was in college, there was a music teacher, a music class that we had to take, and she worked with voice. And she would say repeatedly to people that being tone deaf is actually extremely rare. Most people can actually sing. Most people are actually not tone deaf. And so I thought that was interesting. And so maybe there is a lot of truth to that when the throat chakra is balanced, when there's clarity, then there is a matching of tone that can happen with an instrument. Because that's what's, when people sing, they match the tone with the instruments being played around them. And that's, as I was reading that stuck with me, like the whole idea of singing, when you start to really connect with that, again, most people, as she would say, it's very, very, very rare to find someone that is truly tone deaf. Most good music teachers can help someone figure out, maybe they're doing some throat chakra magic and they don't even realize it, like can figure out how to hear that tone, to know the hearing and the voice come hand in hand, how to hear the tone and then match it, right? So interesting. So if you think you're tone deaf, good news, you're probably not. You're probably not. You just think you are. All right, electrostatic union with your multidimensional self. Hathor speaks. I am Hathor, a divine feminine ascended master devoted to awakening the highest multidimensional potential of your human experience. My Keycode 2 transmission activates your awareness to explore and expand into the quantum fabric of your miraculous human body, which is a living chalice for your unlimited oversoul to participate in the universe of form. And the chalice, so that's the ankh, right? Your human body, as Shanti says, that's the ankh, that's the chalice, yeah? The infinite ever-changing variables of quantum reality provide a helpful contrast for highlighting your invincible and unchanging divine nature. To know who you really are within every possible circumstance is to know your true self with unshakable faith and intimacy. Incarnation is a creative vehicle that stimulates your cellular soul growth as you discover your limitless nature through the seeming limitations of form. Therefore, your oversoul has chosen to become a human as a vehicle for quantum self-discovery. We say that in yoga all the time. You are here in human forms for your soul to know itself, right? It's just, you're here to know yourself. Your oversoul also has the omniscient ability to orchestrate and simultaneously exist within multiple life forms at once. Okay, we talked about this. We foreshadowed this, y'all. How wild is that? You are living all your life forms. Every past life, every future life, it's all happening now. Right? Hard for our human brains to contemplate that. Now, as you read this codex, you are going about your purpose within other bodies as well, living out your oversoul's divine will for creating within multiple parallel lifetimes. My Keycode 2 transmission awakens your ability to consciously engage with all your lifetimes happening now. In addition to being human on Earth, your oversoul has chosen to simultaneously explore incarnating with a multitude of species and forms that are vehicles for self-realization in parallel realities. All of your oversoul's physical embodiments share a common denominator, the electron, which magnetizes and organizes the quantum particles that create your many forms. Every incarnation requires trillions upon trillions of electrons to assemble the hologram of your embodiment into a physical reality. Electrons are the first vehicle of embodiment for your oversoul's descending light manifestation as a physical experience. Every one of your bodies can be thought of as a supercomputer for your oversoul, which provides a wealth of invaluable information carried upon your electrons. Your electrons stream a live broadcast of neurological biofeedback from your many bodies back into the light of your oversoul. This streaming feedback loop of physical, emotional, and mental stimulation is absolutely exquisite to your soul. In my lifetime as Hathor, I consciously experienced this neurological biofeedback as ecstatic states of union within the light of my oversoul, revealing in both the harmonious and challenging circumstances that my physical reality provided as stimulation. It was my deep curiosity about this biofeedback that led me to a daily meditation practice for exploring my soul's consciousness carried within the electrons of my body. Every time my awareness reached out through the vehicle of my body's electrons, I began to increasingly identify and experience more of my other selves in physical reality. With every additional incarnation that I met of myself, I experienced an expanding, conscious intimacy with the unified field of my whole being. Therein, I discovered that transcendent state of bliss arose from the electrostatic communion with all of myself in reality. As I tracked the breath of this electrostatic communion, it was revealed that all of my physical incarnations were intimately connected with another's emotional, mental, and spiritual development. With every embodiment that I became consciously awakened within, I reclaimed my full access to the electrons creating that form. I would bask in each additional body that became a part of my conscious identity. Eventually, I discovered that it was possible to dissolve and reassemble any of my bodies into another location at will, or reabsorb the electrons of the embodiment back into my earthly form for cellular soul cultivation purposes. This fluidity of form was orgasmic biofeedback for my oversoul. Fully activating and unifying my conscious awareness within all of my incarnations eventually dissolved every illusion of separateness from myself and others, while also immersing myself in the sovereignty of my own soul. I discovered my body's electrons were the Ark of the Covenant vehicle to worship the divinity of my oversoul as a sovereign hologram of Sophia. Further, I identified that my many bodies experience this electrostatic union within the unified field of my whole self, created a multidimensional temple for learning that my oversoul is a holographic fractal reflecting the countless souls incarnating as the one body of Sophia Christ. In this journey of remembering the powerful purpose and reality of my multidimensional self, I experienced a quantum leap awakening to the totality of my own sovereignty within Sophia. When you access all of you, and all of you exist everywhere through your electrons, your awareness expands to finally accept and celebrate your true divine nature. Omnipresent awareness is the foundational ground of your authentic intimacy. Accepting your divinity is essential for truly loving yourself. Authentic love for yourself opens the stargate of your heart, which opens the door to any world that you would wish to travel to or create within. As your awareness discovers its ability to engage with your unlimited nature through the many incarnations of your oversoul, you realize the radical truth of who you really are as a multidimensional universe. Loving yourself becomes natural. Self-discovery becomes joyful. Limitations invoke your laughter, and divinity-inspired creativity. The world of form becomes your cosmic playground. My Keycode 2 transmission awakens your curiosity to explore the quantum fabric of your body so that you may experience this personal freedom. To discover how to play in the quantum reality of your outer world, you must have a foundational understanding of the quantum world within you. Witnessing the quantum universe of encoded light energy within you opens your awareness to engage with these same particles existing within all of your incarnations and also within everything you see. That simple awareness alone is a strong foundation for you to explore your true creative power as a divine being, having an intimately human experience. True intimacy leads to joy. In the covenant of the Sophia Code, joy is an essential quality for your divine inheritance. I am here to guide you in how your body is the ultimate vehicle for consuming an electrostatic bliss within your sovereign, multidimensional self. And I want to say something here as I was reading that. There are a lot of people, I've had this question asking about like what the Sophia Code is, all that kind of stuff. Nobody in this world can invoke the Sophia Code in your DNA but you. Nobody can send you Sophia codes. Nobody can take Sophia Codes away from you. That would be like me saying to Shanti and Thea, I'm going to take your Caucasianness away, your whiteness away. I can't. They're white women. That's their DNA, right? Like that, or that no one can do that for you, and no one can take that away from you. I also want to highlight on something that she said here. She said on page 105, she said, the infinite ever-changing variables of quantum reality provide a helpful contrast for highlighting your invincible and unchanging divine nature. From my understanding, there are people out there telling people that your souls are either light or dark and they change, and making people feel like they're not good enough. No, it's unchanging. Nobody can own your soul but you. No one. There's no one that can. So if somebody's telling you that you're a dark soul or a light soul or back and forth like that, that is not true. You own your soul. It is you. That is what she's saying here. And that is what the Sophia Code is about. It's about you understanding that you are this. No one else can give this to you but you. These ascended masters are trying to get you to realize that for yourself. Right? They're not, if they could do it for you, if they had that possibility, there would be no need for this book, right? Because they're letting you do it. Yeah. So I just want to make that very clear to people. I don't want people thinking that there's some magic person out there that's just going to bippity boppity boo and make them. No, it's you. It's you. All right. The electron is the first vehicle for your embodiment. Quantum awareness begins with the atom, and it's here that you can now direct your awareness to the electron. An elementary quantum particle traveling at the speed of light, a single electron acts as a wave function of infinitely complex energy fields capable of existing in every direction and dimension simultaneously. The electron's spin of angular momentum magnetizes the majority of an atom's mass in protons and neutrons. Inside the atomic universe, it is the electron that animates the mass of your human body. As directed by your higher self, it is also the same electron that is intimately involved in constructing and maintaining your many forms in parallel realities. Therefore, the electron can be understood as the access point for your awareness to directly interact with your simultaneous lifetimes. And this is another reason, like in the yoga practice, we talk a lot about how when a person starts practicing yoga, they're very aware of their gross body. So what do we mean by the gross body? We mean the big muscles, the sore quadriplex. But the more and more and more you practice yoga, the more you start to tune into that subtle body, where you start to go beyond the big sensations, where you're feeling that subtle sensation that exists within those tiny little paths of the electrons moving within your body. That's where we get the word electricity from. And if I can remember when I get off with you guys, I'll put there's a video I have on my channel that's really old. It's a beautiful video. My friend here in Atlanta, who is a chemistry teacher as well as a Reiki master, she did a whole video about what the energy is with electrons. I'll put that on my community tab. It's a very old video. It's a beautiful video, but she explains all of this that Hathor is explaining. And this was long before I ever read the Sophia Code. So I will put that on my community tab after we're done with this. I'll have to go and pull it up because, again, it's an old video. But she does a very good job, my friend Tiffany does, of explaining this. So she goes on to say, traveling at the speed of light, the electron is also an access point to every probable future and instantaneously maps these innumerable outcomes. It is aware of both the infinite roots and the outcomes resulting from every option that your awareness may choose to live as an experienced or created reality, because it exists within all these probabilities. These quantum characteristics of the electrons in your body are both a pure reflection and frontline manifestation, revealing your divinity within form. As your omniscient oversoul emerges from the black womb of know-nothing to encode itself into the light realms, an astrological number of electron particles participate in making this transfer of empty space into form possible. We kind of read this in the Emerald tablets too, didn't we? And like tablet 5 or 4, he talked about this, how you created this. This is mirroring the exact same thing Thoth has said. So if you missed that, go to their other page, Aquarius Rising Africa, and look through the Emerald tablets. Thoth is saying the same thing. As a carrier vehicle for your oversoul, these electrons are charged with the magnetism of your higher self-consciousness descending into a desired physical matrix. The quantum particles of potential mass and future probabilities that orchestrate the parameters of your incarnation are attracted to these magnetized electrons. These electrons create your body while simultaneously existing everywhere in the space-time continuum. Let's explore the universe of a single human cell together. A single cell is a highly complex world of organized structures performing a miraculous variety of functions that sustain the projected hologram of your body within physical reality. At the center of this cell is a nucleus, which from our current subatomic perspective can be experienced as an enormous temple complex for the living library of your carbon-based chromosomes. Step inside the nucleus of the single cells as you would enter a temple. Choose to engage with one of the 22 chromosomes before you and walk towards it. As you approach this chromosome, readjust your vision to witness the billions upon billions of DNA strands that are perfectly woven together within the body of the chromosome. Reach out your perception and allow it to be drawn into these infinite sequences of encoded light that record and animate the functions of your human body. Most of your DNA is made up of the same 4 nucleobases that endlessly spiral as a double helix staircase of sequenced information. Stepping lightly onto the rung of this ladder, you can see the mass of a single nucleobase is made of chemical elements woven together by their magnetic attraction to the other one. The orbit and wave function of every electron within every atom of every chemical element weaves this magnetic attraction through the bonding act of sharing atomic orbits with other electrons. Now I invite you to explore how every electron is pulsing with light and presence of your higher self-consciousness in a unified field of radiating energy. Witness how the light of your higher self is anchored within every electron of your DNA and is intimately engaged with replicating the vital details of your human body within every single cell. As this one cell represents the inner workings of every cell in your human body, I invite your perception to be baptized by the radiance of your higher self as it animates every atom of your physiology. To prepare for Keycode 2 initiation, let us review the foundational principles regarding the electron as your first vehicle and body. 1, the electron acts as both a physical vehicle and frontline interface for your oversoul to descend as your higher self into a chosen physical matrix within the space-time continuum. 2, as a vehicle for your higher self-consciousness, the electron in your body magnetizes all that is needed to create and sustain your human physiology. 3, the electron is a quantum particle traveling at the speed of light, which also acts as a wave function of infinite complex fields and therefore exists in every direction and dimension of reality simultaneously. 4, direct your human awareness inside an electron as an access point for you to track the infinite probable future outcomes at your every decision. 5, you can engage and speak directly to all of your parallel incarnations by traveling through the electrons of your human body to where they simultaneously exist within your other selves. All right, I guess I'll pass it off.
Wow, that's actually quite incredible. If we look at that, especially the last paragraph, you can engage with and speak directly to all your parallel incarnations by traveling through the electrons of your human body to where they simultaneously exist within your other selves. I mean, it sounds probably pretty complex for a lot of people, but it's actually so simple when we really break it down in bite-sized chunks, Life is spiritual. There are, this physical incarnation in which we existing now is such a great challenge for us in so many ways, because we really are trying to express our multidimensionalness in a third dimensional body, and sometimes that can be very, very frustrating. So when we start breaking it down into bite-sized chunks, and really start understanding that we are multidimensional, we are super intelligent, we are masterful creators. We've come here to create, to turn energy into things. That's what this dimension's about, and let us never ever forget that, because we've never done it before anywhere else. This is the first place that we get the opportunity to do that. So what we're really doing is we are looking at what we have created, because everything that is in your physical form, we have created. Everything that is in your life, you have created, whether it's amazing or whether it's crap. So if you don't like what you're creating, you have the power to change that. And if you do like what you're creating, or if you would like to create more of the good things, you also have the power to change that. But what you don't have the power to do is to change the past. Not even God can change the past. It is what it is. What you need to learn to do is understand the gift of that experience. Because when we can start seeing the gift in every experience, we start recreating shitty experiences with a very different energy, and we understand the gift in that, so we don't harbor those negative frequencies, excuse me, that come with the negative experience. That's a big trick and a big key into understanding life on earth, because most of us can't even begin to imagine that our angel, our guardian angels, or these incredible spirit guides, you know, or whatever it is that we subscribe to in a spiritual way, are actually higher aspects of ourselves. You know, we do not trust ourselves enough to imagine that that could possibly be me. But the more we learn how powerful spirit is, and the more we learn how powerful and how intelligent we are, those things then start becoming a lot more tangible and a lot more realistic, if you will. But it really just does start with not seeing all of that out there and being overwhelmed by, oh my God, how am I ever going to get there? You know, it's so important to come back to what you have, where you're at, and bite-sized chunks, bit by bit, examine what it is that's holding you back. It could be repetitive procrastinating thoughts. I mean, procrastination is such a shitty little thing, right? It'll divert you from anything. So if you're a procrastinator, for example, I think there's so much value in understanding to stop procrastinating and see what happens. Just get on and do it and see what happens, you know. The proof is in the eating. And that's what I'm saying. We turn frequencies into things. We feel stuck. We feel frustrated. We feel angry. We feel sucked down. We feel overwhelmed when we are not, you know, there's really that sign, that thing that says you're standing in your own way. Get out of your own way. It really is. Whether it's a thought, whether it's emotion, whether it's an action that needs to be taken, you know. And then the more we do that, because this is just a dimension of your multidimensional being. But this is such an important one, guys. I can't tell you how important it is to understand the importance of our existence on planet Earth right now. And in fact, I wouldn't mind actually doing a show on that, because I've done a lot of insight into that over the past years, you know. Earth really is where we're holding a lot of karma. So all our other planets and the other dimensions, you know, when we haven't understood things or didn't want to deal with stuff, or fear encountered us in our other existences, right? We just shoved it under the carpet, and guess where we flushed it down to? Planet Earth. Planet Earth holds our karma.
Yeah.
We are experiencing our karma here. So the minute we can realize, you know, and this makes so much more sense to me. My mom always used to say to me when we were kids, my child, your hell is on earth.
Yes.
And I completely understand that, because those of us who've been through emotional hell, oh my God, how bad is that? Those of us who've been through abusive relationships or terrifying experiences, or this SRA stuff that we expose so much on. I can't imagine it gets much worse than that, right? So we have to understand that karma is not something God or the devil has imprisoned us into. Somehow people think that.
It's just
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your spirit, you see, your own soul knows that every action has a reaction. So maybe in 20 lifetimes ago, you were a serial killer or a serial rapist. I'm going to extremes here. Your spirit will never forget that. And at some point, when you are ready to face that, that's when God says, okay, are you ready to go and face the music? But I'll tell you, remember this and this and this and this and this. And there'll be angels always that sent all around you to remind you of the true essence of your nature. You know, we are not come here by punishment. We've come here by choice, because we know unless we resolve the stuff that Earth is teaching us, we cannot move forward in the multiverse. It's that simple. So stop resisting the lessons on Earth. Stop resisting what Earth is teaching us and showing us. We've come here by choice. It's the only planet of choice. We come here by choice. So as we choose to be here, we choose our experiences as well and what path we take. And the more we remember that, the more our multidimensional nature is going to be exposed to us.
And I will say too, it's interesting you with the Earth holding karma. I mean, I know Mr. Fox is coming on with you guys soon, and y'all can even talk about this, because the Cassiopeians in Law of One have all said, like, you know, when something, even if we look at it in the macro, when something like a hurricane happens or an earthquake, people on our side are quick to say, oh, the bad guys did that. Bad guys did that. But most of the time, actually, they're saying, no, it's not manipulation. It's we have put so much energy from ourselves into Mother Earth, so much karma that energy has to come out. And so majority of the time, when there is an earthquake or a hurricane, it's not the bad guys doing it, you guys. It's our shadow side that did that,
Exactly.
that created that, pushing that energy. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we have to stop this nonsense that it's somebody else's fault. It's not somebody else's fault. It's ours.
Earth carries the consciousness of every human being. Mm-hmm. So all our lives we've lived here, all the moments we've experienced here, this is why we keep reincarnating here, right? In physical bodies. Those emotions, those thoughts, those actions, the energy, the frequency, and remember, we always have to go back to the laws. Energy can never be created or destroyed, only ever transferred or transformed. We have not transformed that shitty energy that we've transferred under the carpet. So if you are met with shitty experiences, whatever they might be, instead of trying to run away or blame it or disperse it into somewhere else, and yes, there's always responsibility, equal responsibility that comes between conflict, let's say of 2 or 10 or 100 people. Everyone has to take their part of the responsibility of what their part of this conflict is, because everybody's energy adds to that conflict. We can't just blame the drug addict in the family for being the bad one that took the drugs. I'm going, hello, you know, how often do we hear about naughty children throwing tantrums at the age of 2 or 3? And I'm going, well, hello, a child doesn't just throw a tantrum. A child is responding to its environment, probably picking up energy from its mother or father who are warring with each other, even if it is behind closed doors type thing. The child is responding to that. Some kids are going to respond aggressively. Others are going to go intro. Every child is different, right? So everything in life, and animals as well. Your animals, if your dog, for example, is particularly aggressive and you can't understand why, I'm going to ask you, do you fight a lot in front of your dog? Are you angry? Do you argue? Hello? You think the animals don't pick up on that? Let's just look at that for an example. So my point is, everything is energy. And when we sit and we take care of and nurture ourselves, Nothing you have done ever is so bad that you can't let it go or redeem yourself, or God will redeem you, or whatever it is your belief system is. Redemption is not something that is available to a few. Redemption occurs when you take responsibility for your role in what that has been. That releases you. The truth sets us free. That releases you. And the more we do that, the lighter we become. And the lighter the energies on the entire planet become. Then they start transmuting or alchemizing. Every time you say, yes, okay, I own that now, thank you. Kadung, you've taken back something, and a light spark has erupted. That black has transmuted back into gold. Alchemy has occurred. So this is how we help each other, by helping ourselves. And the more selfish you become with yourself, and that means understanding your own journey, the more selfless you become when it comes to assisting those in need. Right? Everything is a duality.
And Sri Swami Satitananda in his commentary of the sutra says, once you understand this, like viscerally understand this, then you can live your life with so much joy and pleasure, because you don't take anything, you see it for what it is versus believing it for something it's not. And that's yeah. And guys, I just put in the private chat, my internet keeps like going unstable due to the construction next door. So if I get zapped off, that's why.
No problem. Yeah, I had my internet down for 12 days, and they put it on yesterday. And I'm still not getting full internet today. So I got to tell you, this bloody Mercury retrograde. I'm so seldom affected by Mercury retrograde. This time I've been slapped around. I was going to say clapped around.
We'll see.
Like ding, 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 ding,
ding. God, right? Well, it's this one. I don't know if you guys can hear it. There's this one tool they use next door, and I hear it start going zzz, and then when I hear it, I start to see the internet. It's this one freaking tool they use that always knocks and it knocks my neighbors out too. So if I get zapped, that's what happens. So just keep going.
No worries. We shall just continue on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okie
dokie. Where are we now?
We are at Keycode 2, so someone else should probably take over in case I get zapped. We're right at Keycode 2 page.
Where do you want to go?
Yeah, or you can go, Shanti, and if both of you zap, I can just carry on.
It's all good. Go.
Shanti's solo tour.
You guys, I almost got whacked by lightning yesterday. Let me just tell you that. That was very close.
Listen, if you got whacked by lightning, I've been like, oh, as the Indians say, auspicious. Auspicious.
It was very auspicious.
So rare, and it happened to you, auspicious. I'm glad you're safe. So.
Yeah, me too. Okay, Keycode 2, the Hathor initiation. Your voice as an omniscient creator of quantum reality. I now prepare a ceremonial space within and around me for transformation. I call forth concentric circle of light to surround me now, an inner circle of iridescent gold light and an outer circle of royal blue light. I now centered within the circles of light, seated upon the golden lotus throne. I am now in ceremony, free of any construct of space and time where instantaneous healing and divine knowing exist. I invoke my higher self to fulfill my body and this circle of light as a presence of my own Holy Spirit. I feel my higher self now descending through my crown chakra as a dove of peace and surpasses all my understanding. My cells are humming in response for invoking the Holy Spirit of my higher self accelerates in velocity of every electron orbiting within my body. A radiant sun appears above my head. Encircling the sun above me are thousands of angelic beings with eyes that sings, I am. In surrender, I take a deep breath in. The Holy Spirit within me rejoices with the angels, and this day is ordained by my oversoul to liberate my awareness from the illusion of my physical limitation and separation. By the grace of Sophia, I declare this that this is so. In relief, I now exhale and release all past striving and for the divinity that I already am. This is actually very beautiful. I like this. I breathe in the radiant sun surrounded by the rustling wings of holy eyes begin to descend through the crown chakra. The radiant sun passes through the pineal gland. Thousands of angel wings descend from the sun to clear the path of the pure white light from the head to my heart. I now accept the gift of divine knowing as my birthright for remembering the Sophia Code within me. The radiant sun passes through my pituitary gland. Thousands of angelic eyes sings, Holy, holy, holy I am. Activate the diamond light temples of my third eye. I now accept the gift of divine seeing as my birthright for revealing the Sophia Code within me. The radiant sun passes through my throat chakra. Tongues of holy fire emerges from the eyes, speaking their blessings of light language over my voice. I now accept the gift of divine speech as my birthright for activating the Sophia Code within me. The radiant sun now anchors at the center of my heart chakra. Brilliant wheels spin open the stargate of my heart to reveal a universe of light in me. I now accept the gift of divine communication as my birthright for embodying the Sophia Code within me. The radiant sun now expands to fulfill my entire body with the manner of my own Holy Spirit. I feel the resonant tone of my higher self speak from in me. I am. I am filled with a great peace. I am now aware of my higher self directly communicating to my human awareness. The voice of my higher self speaks through my heart and resonates with every cell of my body. I recognize that it is the presence of my higher self that instantly responds to every invocation. I now invoke my higher self to direct the wave function of my electrons to expand the orbit of communication and to fulfill the and to be filled with an ever increasing measure of my own Holy Spirit. I am fully present now. It is safe for my body to relax into the radiant light that I am. Everything I seek is orbiting within me. Now there is now nowhere to go but to the universe of light within me. Embodying the omniscient presence of my higher self, I now declare that I am a unified field of my whole self. The Holy Spirit that I am is orbiting within me, circling above me, descending within me, arising as the holy cherubim within, and anchoring at my heart to expand and surround me in sanctuary. My human body silently purrs in the perfect orchestration of my physiolo- physi- physiosocial. Oh, yes, Shante, help me out with
Physiology.
that.
Physiology.
Yeah, as a final manifestation of my higher self's light manifesting into form. This also reminds me a lot of what you say that your physical body is a direct manifestation of your spirit. Don't you always say something like that?
Yeah, it cannot be.
Yeah,
If we are one, then and if there is no separation between anything, if full consciousness is one, and there is no separation between us as brothers and sisters, really. When we look at how the golden thread of light works,
yeah,
then the body has to be the manifestation of spirit. Can't be another way. Where did the bodies come from? Even if they do come from another planet, which I don't believe they do, they would
no,
still not be separated from creation. So
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, carrying on. In this moment, I am summer. systematically aware of my physiologically moving at the speed of light within every electron of my DNA. In the zero still point, bless you, in the zero still point that I am in ever-present moment, I witness the universe within me. I now invite Hathor, she of 1,000 voices, to join me in the ceremony of my multidimensional mentor who went ahead of me to reveal the way before me. Hathor, I welcome your presence to initiate me and activate Keycode 2 of the Sophia Code within me, within my DNA now. Hathor now appears before me in a radiant embodiment of golden light. Within the silence of her smile, Hathor speaks 1,000 blessings upon me, baptizing my awareness with her joyful charity. I peer into her soft, dark eyes, glittering with the starlight of Cyrus. Hathor gazes active, Hathor's gaze activates divine love to radiate out from my core, filling every cell of my body with warmth. The graceful masculature was divine is divided by the long sheer white linen dress with vibrant gold jewelry that breathes and sings as part of her body. Upon Hathor's head light rests a golden crown of gold that rises up with two long horns of the sky horn. Hathor's night black hair tumbles down her neck and rests between her iridescent gold wings, which trails behind her. As Hathor approaches me, her every movement broadcasts the elegance of embodied joy. Her presence dances with ease and of vitality. Hathor's smile is contagious, lifting my spirits to explore the frequency of joy from the perspective of her blissful embodiment. Framing Hathor's outline is Hathor Star's nation, angelic beings from who sings in resonant frequencies with her transmission. Their many eyes and rustling wings whirl in the wind of adoration behind her. I feel the electrons within every cell of my body accelerating their velocity of orbit. My higher self responds to Hathor's presence by spontaneously speaking celestial tongue of golden sound waves. My inner ears are purified by the harmonic tones flowing through me. I now prepare my heart to receive the word of Hathor's consciousness, initiating my consciousness. I simultaneously feel light and more whole. Hathor opens her arms to me. Wheels within wheels and light spirals open her heart chakra, creating a stargate of heavenly commune to flow through us, between us. Are you going to
I
take
think
it
we
from
should
here?
stop there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should maybe just stop there because that's when we now move. It's quite a bit still, and then we're going to go
Yeah.
obviously into the key codes and stuff that maybe we should just wait for next week as well because we're just about done for time anyway. But it's very interesting because she's very much working with the energy and the frequencies and the preparation, which is super interesting. So again, once we start looking at how important energy is and how important it is to get our frequency in line and in alignment, then that's when things start working, moving and flowing. So
And
I think
flowing.
that's, very interesting. Yay! Wow. I want to say thank you to everybody. We'll be done with Hathor then next week when we actually do the activations and stuff like that as well. Really very, very interesting. So if you guys haven't read the chapter yet, I want to encourage you to read it because I think it's so important to also just understand the information. It takes, I read the stuff 2 or 3 times because there's so many times that it doesn't actually, like even my mind will be away on holiday for 3 minutes. And the next time I read it, it'll come back and then I go, oh, I didn't see that the last time. So it's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay. Well, then I think we should, call it a day for today. And I want to just say to our viewers, thank you so much, guys, for joining me. And another really inspirational. I love this book. Sophia Code is really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
There's so much truth in there, and there's just, it's just time to go deeper. As we look within, as we just stand still instead of running, we'll find these things. And I also want to just say, I think it's also important that when she speaks about codes and things, it's not coming from an artificial intelligence place, as the Dark Lords like to do. It's really about understanding we are frequency beings. And because we've gone onto this exponential journey here on Earth, starting, and that's why, guys, join me for interview, not this Tuesday, next Tuesday with Mr. Fox on the organic portals, because that's going to be really fascinating as well. When we look at the 1 density, 2 density, 3 density, 4 density, that sort of thing, and understanding how the frequencies work. And we're just here evolving. We're evolving together. We're not able to use our full 100% of our frequencies. The first life we have on Earth will implode on ourselves. It's a process of getting to know ourselves. It's a process of opening up. It's a process of evolving. And we all get there. As they say in Afrikaans, agter ons kom ook in die kraal, which means, what's the direct translation of that? The ox at the back also gets into the crawl. So it doesn't matter whether you get in there first or last, you're still going to get it.
You'll get there.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Thea. Have a lovely weekend to you too. And I want to say thank you to all our viewers again for watching us. God bless you all. Take good care of yourselves. Have an awesome weekend. And we'll see you next week. Oh, by the way, watch out for the done a drop-in with Ara. It's probably going to be premiered after this, which is just an update on the channel for the week, stuff like that. So catch that in a few minutes, I think. It should be up maybe in the next half an hour to an hour. I don't know, sometime there. Cheers, guys. Take care of yourselves. Bye.